Good morning, students. I am Professor Amrita Mam from SGI, Sagar Group of Institutions, SIRT MBA. And we discuss here the business policy and strategic analysis in third semester, MBA third semester. So we will start the business policy and strategic analysis. We start with the business analysis and business policy analysis. I just started the first unit of business policy. So we here to discuss about the business policy and strategic analysis. First unit of the concept and definitions. It is agree of the policy guidelines of different functional areas like productions, marketing, finance, etc. in a company. It is a major policy guidelines drawn by the board of directors to regulate the overall directions in which company should move. It is a progress of study, process of decisions, and process of action leading to development of affecting business strategy. Evolutions of business policy as a discipline. The genius of business policy. The origins of business policy can be traced back to 1911 when a Harvard Business School introduced to integrated course of managers aimed at providing the general management capabilities. This course was based on the case studies which had been in use at a school of instructions purpose since the 1908. However, the real impacts for the introducing business policy curriculum of the business schools came with the publications of two reports in 1959. The Gordon on Holwell reports, sponsored by the Ford Foundations, had recommended a capstone course of business policy, which would give participants an opportunity to pull together what they learned in the separate business fields and utilize this knowledge in the analysis of complex business problems. In today's situation, business policy considered as an integrative force offers to those who have already been through a set of course functional areas. The term business policy has been used traditionally through new titles such as strategic management, corporate strategy, and policy. So are now used extensively for the course. The discussions has so far been related to the academic status of the. In practice, however, the development has been along different lines. Luckett, evolution with the management practice. Luckett has views the development in business policy and arising from the use of planning techniques by the managers. Starting from day-to-day planning, in earlier times, the managers still recently tried to anticipate the future through the preparations of budgets and by using the control system like capital budgeting and a management by objectives. However, as these techniques were unable to emphasize the role of future accurately, long-range planning came into use. But soon, long-range planning was replaced by strategic planning and later by the strategic management, a term that is currently being used to describe the process of strategic decision making. Strategic management formed the theoretically framework the business policy course today. Historical prospects of the business policy. Hoffer has viewed the evolutions of business policy in terms of the four paradigms. For the sake of convenience, these shifts may be considered as a four overlapping phases in the development of the subject of business policy is, it is interesting to note that the development of business policy as a field of study as closely followed the demand of real life business. Ad hoc policy, according to Offer and others, the first phase, which can be traced back to the mid of 1930s, the rested of the paradigm of the ad hoc policy making. The need of policy making arose due to the nature of American business firms of that period. The firm which has originally consulted the operations in the single product line, catering to a unique set of customers in the limited geographical area, expanded in one or all these three dimensions. Informal control coordinations became partial irrelevant as expansion took place. The need to integrate functional areas arose. This integrations was brought about the framing policies to guide managerial actions. Policy making became the primary responsibility to SGI and enterprises who later assumed the role of senior management. Strategic management. What is strategic management? The current thinking, which is immersed in the 80s, is based on the fourth paradigm of the strategic management. In the initial focus, the strategic management was on the intersections of two broad fields inquiry: the strategic process of business firms and the responsibility of general management. Thomas and the Strickland say the approach and the methods of analysis of strategic management have not yet closed into the theory of how to manage the enterprise, and but very definitively do represent a powerful way of thinking to resolve strategic issues. The revolutions of business strategic issues that affect the future business firms has the continual endeavor in the subject of the business policy. Endeavor is based on the development of the strategic thinking. Whitefield says the really useful training the strategic management should yield the comprehension of the few general principles with through the grounding in the way they apply and variety of the concrete details. And most likely, the student will forget the details in principle, but the reminder unusually, unconsciously, new, own obvious way of thinking and strategy. The general principles underlying the strategic thinking have been focused on the effects of researchers and academicians in the field of business policy. As defined, illustration and other business policy is the study of the functions and responsibility of the senior management, the crucial problems that affect the success in a total enterprise, and the decisions that determine the directions of organizations shape its future. The problems of policy in the business, like those the policy in business affairs, have to do with the choice of purpose, the modeling of the organization's identification and characters, the continuous definitions of what needs to be done, the mobilizations of resources, the attainment of the goals, and face the competitiveness and adverse circumstances. Business policy. The comprehensive definitions covers may expect the business policy. Firstly, consider as a study of function and responsibility of senior management related to those the organization problem which affect the success of the total enterprise. Secondly, it deals with the determinations of the future course of actions that organizations has to adopt. Thirdly, it involves the choosing the purpose, defining what needs to be done in order to mold the character and identify the organizations. Lastly, it is a concern with the mobilizations of the resources which will help the organizations to achieve its goal. The importance of business policy. Business policy is important to support the business circulations as the components of the execution development programs and middle level. The managers who are preparing to move the senior management level. A study of business policy fulfills the needs of management students as well as those middle level managers. we shall consider 4 areas course proves the beneficials. For the learning of the course, the understanding of business environment, the understanding of the organizations, and the personal development. The purpose of business policy is there threefolds: to integrate the knowledge gained in various functional area of management, to adopt the generalized approach of the problem solving, to understand the complex interlinkages operating within an organization through the use of system, approach to the decisions making and relatives. These changes thinking plays the external. Thank you. We continue the topics in our next lecture. Thank you so much.